week of January, we say welcome to Ann Arbor and the Chrysler Center for Super Wednesday, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. And this Big Ten matchup between Rutgers in search of its first conference win of the season, and Michigan searching for its third consecutive win, sitting at 15-5 overall. Joe Davis with John Crispin. We give you our starting lineups, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. First off, for Rutgers, here's what Eddie Jordan sends out there.
Rutgers got a number of playmakers, and yes, they're very young, but Corey Sanders is really where it starts. If he has a good game, he gives his team potential. And then for, obviously, the Michigan Wolverines, once again, no Karis LeVert. That's been a problem, and you're expecting to see him back soon, but Duncan Robinson has just been terrific. As John Beilein said, hey, look, it's as if he's played his entire career here, playing with a lot of comfort and swagger.
Wolverines with a chance to match last year's win total with a win tonight, and a chance to draw even with Maryland, who's got that huge game tomorrow night against Iowa. There is Karis LeVert. This will be his 7th game out with what has been termed as a lower left leg injury. They say it's unrelated to last year's injury that got a season and a half. Michigan and Rutgers from Ann Arbor. We will get it started a couple times.
Like an official pump fake. Do-over.
Block. Oh, we're going.
Such a baseball guy. You went with a balk terminology. Come on, man.
Now, Michigan coming off an 81-68 win against a Nebraska team that had been playing really well. They had won 4 in a row before the Wolverines went down there to Lincoln and got their 2nd straight win.
I think this is a tough matchup for Rutgers because of the ball movement. You see Donald just getting it taken away from him down low. The ball movement has been very good, and I think that poses some threats against a young defense.
This Rutgers team, of course, still searching for that first win. It's been more than a calendar year since they won a Big Ten game. Got to go back to that upset win against Wisconsin last January. Here is Corey Sanders, their leading scorer, finding Greg Lewis. Right at halfway down and then popped out on him, and here comes Zach Irvin. Irvin, a clean look from 3. Sanders goes by Irvin. Nice quick explosion.
He just made 2 very good plays in 2 consecutive possessions. One led to a missed layup, and he goes in and finishes that one himself. I mean, he really has a lot of upside, can make plays. I just want to see him improve it from the aspect of making teammates better.
Now, one of the things that Eddie Jordan was talking to us about before the game was becoming more trustworthy. Having your opponents or your teammates know that you're going to make the right play. As Walton misfires from 3, rebound DJ Foreman.
Well, and ultimately, coaches need to trust their floor general on the floor.
And here's Lewis, Rutgers with the first 4.
Coaches just want to know that, hey, if this is a guy I'm going to play major minutes, if this is a guy I want the ball in his hands, I need to be able to trust him to make good decisions on both the offensive and defensive end of the floor.
Well, John, this team's still looking for its first win in conference play, but they've not just rolled over. You just got to go back to last Thursday to see them playing a top 10 team in Iowa. Played them really tough. Cross court for Donnell. His 2 is not there, and a rebound for Foreman.
And that's something John Beilein was obviously concerned with, too, coming in saying, guys, this is a bunch of scholarship athletes. These guys were all stars at the high school level, and they're competing every night out. This is not just going to be a game where you just walk all over them. They're going to compete.
It was 90-76 final score in that Iowa game last Thursday. It was one of Rutgers' best offensive games of the season. Season highs, at least in conference play, both points and field goal percentage.
And I would even say that they defended pretty well. It's just that Iowa made a lot of shots.
Duncan Robinson. Michigan, it's missed its first 5 shots from the field. Here's Sanders pulling up and knocking it down.
Plays with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, he does.
Just to take that shot in transition. Not one pass made, and he takes a step back to the right, which is not easy.
Freshman out of Lakeland, Florida. Highly touted recruit. Rutgers leading scorer. Irvin from the corner. Michigan still searching. Foreman spinning inside. And he got away with the travel, but Walton comes up with a steal. Walton behind the back. Irvin with the extra pass. Robinson, the top three-point shooter in the conference, starts Michigan scoring.
Well, if he's going to get open looks like that, he's going to hurt you all night. But I feel like Rutgers came out with a little pep in their step, a little bounce, and Michigan's been flat. Hopefully that 1-3 can get them going.
As a team, they average about 11 threes per game. That's best in the conference, top 10 in the country. Donnell is there to finish. Off of the feed from Abdur-Rahman.
It's like to feed the big guy who runs the floor well. Good job turning a turnover, which at that point, you should be able to get more defenders back. And that's something I think you get with more and more experience. Guys learn how to play with a sense of urgency.
Greg Lewis, senior captain. Nice fadeaway shot.
That's a tough individual move. Puts it on the deck, fades away to the baseline, finishes.
Here's Walton trying to shake free of Sanders. Now Irvin defended by Williams. Robinson goes by Foreman. Way too strong. Airball in the jump shot.
Good back and forth so far. No whistles yet. Both teams defending well, but also playing without fouling.
Williams, one of their top outside shooters, buries a three, and Rutgers has started the game 5 of 6.
Well, that's another guy who can fill it up. Yes, a lot of youth, so there's going to be ups and downs. It's going to be a bit of a roller coaster ride. That's what the rest of the Big Ten should be concerned with. Guys that can really make plays.
Donnell, after Irvin made a play to find him.
Donnell's a guy, I'll tell you, John Beilein even said about him, he's a guy who's played a lot better, and to be able to play through him is just another added weapon to an already balanced team.
He's one of the guys that has stepped up with LeVert out. Up and down this roster, guys growing in his absence. Williams, a wild shot off the front of the rim. Irvin 1-on-2. Outside Abdur-Rahman. Back to Irvin for 3. Long rebound to Walton. He'll pull it out for Robinson. Puts it on the deck. Tough angle bank shot. No. But another fresh possession.
And Eddie Jordan screaming at his team, get in. Let's secure the defensive possession with a rebound.
They are, rebounding percentage-wise, the worst team among major conference teams in the country. With that lack of size created by all the injuries. Well, Rutgers off to a nice start with an 11-7 lead on Michigan. Mike Williams coming off a 17-point performance in the loss against Iowa last week. Buries one from straight away. Off and running in Ann Arbor. Rutgers has started 5 of 7 from the field and with a 4-point lead over Michigan as we welcome you courtside. Joe Davis with John Crispin. I mean, you said it at the start of the game. John Beilein said it to you before the game as well. These are scholarship players as well on Rutgers, and they're showing so far.
Well, and they came out with a little bit of energy, and I think that's what you need, especially on the road. You come out, a little chip on your shoulder, something to prove, and that's what you do if you're in that bottom half of the league. You understand that you may struggle against a Maryland. You understand you may struggle against a team like Michigan State, a polished team who's deep. But you should be able to go out and compete against the rest of the league, no doubt. And I think that's what this Rutgers team can do.
Coming off a really competitive performance against Iowa. Abdur-Rahman out of the corner, no. Foreman gets fouled going up for the rebound. Our Motel 6 sixth man has checked into the game, and Jonathan Laurent, they've been so banged up this year, especially up front. Getting him back, really important. He had 14 in his first game back from concussion last week.
Yeah, and he's kind of forced to play a hybrid position, which is pretty much 2 through 5 at times with this smaller team, but he is tremendous. And as a 3-man, Coach Eddie Jordan has a lot of confidence in where he could end up as a player.
Michigan, one of the top offensive teams in the country. Rutgers doing a pretty nice job so far against them.
How about that play by Corey Sanders? The anticipation there, kind of playing safety, makes the read, attacks the ball. I tell you, Corey Sanders has a little something to his game. It really does. He's got a little something to his game that is dangerous to play against.
There's a lot of things that he does well.
I think as he improves on the defensive end, he's just going to get better and better, and I think the team will follow.
Only a freshman, one of a couple of freshmen seeing significant roles with Laurent as well. Here is Laurent, straightaway three that went off the front of the rim and rebounded by Irvin. Michigan has missed its last 4 shots. Team that shoots around 50% as a team on the season. The foul away from the ball goes on Amari Greer.
Well, I think Michigan's actually gotten some really good looks. That's the thing. If you miss your first few really good looks, it takes the rhythm out of the game. I mean, you want to continue to just catch and fire when you get open. But if you've noticed, they've gotten some extra looks, and they've made the extra pass instead of just taking the shot. So missing shots really hurts you in terms of rhythm. That helps.
There's a three for Walton. Coming off that double-double in the win against Nebraska. 19 points, 12 rebounds. One of the guys that has really started to step forward lately.
And you always have to shoot when you get open shots. I mean, that's the thing. Regardless if that happens or if what Derek Walton Jr. just did happens, you've got to shoot good looks that you get.
With that toe and the foot injury most of last season, injured in December, bothered him for much of the year, shut him down for the final 10 games. He stayed healthy for the most part this year. Abdur Rahman. Rebound Bishop Daniels.
That time, tough offensive possession, good defensive possession for Rutgers. Ball stayed on one side of the floor and really got nothing going.
Around Wagner. Here comes Irvin. And he got his pocket pick by Laurent, but couldn't corral it. Goes out of bounds.
Out of bounds on the Michigan, and there's timeout on the court.
Timeout under 12. Rutgers with a 1-point lead on Michigan. Tuesday basketball on BTN is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. They are brought to you in part by State Farm. We exist to assist. Back in Ann Arbor. Michigan is 10-1 this season. Rutgers giving them all they can handle over the first 8 minutes.
Well, I think at some point Michigan's going to start to make shots. They're getting good looks. They just came out a little flat. Rutgers threw the first punch. But I do feel like the fact that they're getting good looks within the offense will turn things around.
As a team, they shoot about 40% from 3, which is top 10 in the country. They've only gone 2 for their first 10 in this one. That is despite, like you said, some pretty clean looks. Zach Irvin. Nice pass for Walton going baseline. Robinson, a clean look from 3. Rounded out, rebound Foreman.
Oh, that's just great execution. Getting the ball to change sides, attacking the basket, playing inside out. Just not getting the look to fall.
Rutgers started 5 of 6. Has missed its last 5 shots now. It has gone 4 minutes without a point. But still maintaining this 1-point lead. Sanders for Foreman underneath, reverses it in.
It's a good job getting the big away from the basket, and then Sanders recognizing he's wide open. No one covering.
Foreman averaging close to a double-double the last few games. In his first season as a starter. Walton behind the back with a step-back jumper that pops out. Foreman has it go off his hands.
You talk about execution, and sometimes good execution is just making the right play. And that's what you see from Corey Sanders. He's making the right play. Coming off, turning the corner, finding the open man underneath.
There's a near turnover, and it is a foul on Wagner. We didn't like the call, but it's Rutgers basketball.
That's his first.
Tough.
That's tough.
He's in. Into the game now for your Wolverines.
Wagner will take a seat, replaced by Ricky Doyle. This Rutgers team trying to rebuild under Eddie Jordan, and that's tough to begin with. But when you look at what they've had to deal with the injuries, especially in the front court, you've got Dorsett and Jallo and Freeman all done for this season. And the trickle down from that has been big.
Well, and you look at what they've got to do in terms of competing in this league. It's not like it gets easy against a small lineup. Even the smaller teams play with length and size. Your guards are 6'5", 6'6", and this is a pretty empty bench.
Yeah. Yeah, they've had 4 front court players that have dealt with injuries. You mentioned Shaq Dorson and Ibrahim Jallo. Sean Freeman all done for the season. Loren can't hold on. He's missed time as well with a concussion. Robinson drives inside and lays it in.
That's the part of his game I'd really like to see him take advantage of more. There's nothing wrong these days with playing outside in. That's what everybody does, just as Steph Curry. Now, just have to take advantage of the fact that everyone knows how effective you are shooting the 3. Take it to the basket every night.
Use that reputation, right?
Yeah. And eventually you're going to get easier looks from 3 because you can show that you're a little more of a dual threat.
Amari Greer trying to get Urban off his feet. Williams will fire away. And a rebound for Doyle. Michigan still looking for its first lead of the game against 0-7 Rutgers. Robinson put it on the floor again. Dawkins. Shot clock inside of 10. Walton hops inside. So Rutgers going to have several times this year against Ohio State, then against Iowa, now against Michigan. Right there to work through the midway point of this first half, and a chance for a 3-point play for Amari Greer.
As much as I'm saying Michigan's missing open looks, on the other end, Rutgers is doing a good job being patient within the offense, taking advantage of certain opportunities, and then defensively, even though Michigan's getting some decent looks around the 3, Rutgers has done a good job taking everything away at the basket. And that's a credit to Eddie Jordan and what they've improved upon. It's tough to coach these young freshmen up defensively, trying to get them in position, understanding defensive principles that they may never have learned in their life. I know I didn't start playing defense until I got to college. That's just how it is.
So the lead back to 4 for Rutgers after the 3-point play for the graduate transfer Greer.
Thing you want to do too is let Rutgers play with confidence. Let them play with swagger. That's when they are dangerous.
Walton for 3. Boy, at every spot of the rim and popped out. Nothing doing for Michigan in the offensive end right now. 2 of 12 from 3. Just 25% overall. Foul on Michigan. They get Walton. Rutgers enjoying a 4-point lead over Michigan, looking for their first conference win in more than a year.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We got BTN Live the night before on Friday from New York, and then the tip-off show, the game, and then hockey later that night. What a day.
How about it?
Big Ten taking on New York. I love it.
You going to stick around for the hockey game?
Oh, I got Michigan State the next day.
Wow.
Someone's got to work.
Grinding away. Rutgers turnover out of the break. Eddie Jordan's team with a 4-point lead.
I say there's something about a young team that you don't want to let them hang around. They become dangerous.
And there's another Michigan turnover. Sloppy start for the Wolverines. There's a missed opportunity for Rutgers in transition.
And those are the plays where Eddie Jordan just says, hey, look, just make the simple play. And you see, just gets tripped up. Great save, but it leads to a run out. And for Rutgers, just make the simple play. Simple play means 2 points. Whether it's really pretty or a layup, doesn't matter.
So Rutgers coming off its best offensive game in Big Ten play this year. They neared 80 points against a really good Iowa team. That jumper short from Greg Lewis and rebounded by Urban, who's got a ton of those so far, but Still searching in the scoring column.
Michigan shooting 25% from the field. I mean, it's going to be tough to overcome unless they can get themselves some better looks. Maybe get some points at the foul line.
Dawkins with a corner three.
Or have Aubrey Dawkins come into the game and knock down a three.
That works too.
And sometimes it takes one guy to come in and just feel it, to pick up just the tempo, the rhythm, the confidence, even the crowd.
He was that guy when these teams met here last year as Laurent gets inside off of the feed from Sanders. But Dawkins knocked down 8 threes the meeting against Rutgers here last year. Dawkins underneath with the slam, and maybe you said it, one guy can give it that spark.
That was just simply understanding that the defense is taking his perimeter game away, makes the back cut, good find by Walton, and a strong finish.
Here's another backdoor, this one from Rutgers, and it's Daniels landed in to respond.
Whether it's good offense or bad defense, I think we've seen a combination of both. Yes, you want to deny outside at times, but you cannot give up an easy backdoor opportunity.
Dawkins, like it was good.
Heat check. I don't mind a heat check, especially if no one else can throw the ball in the ocean.
You're known to provide a heat check or two.
Yeah, I grant the heat check, so I took my share.
Laurent took it away and got rejected by Donnell. A 5-on-4 for Michigan. Walton wraparound pass Donnell. Would have gotten away with the travel. Dawkins ties the game.
And there it is. That's the swing you need. You turn good defense into a run out, a 5-on-4 opportunity. Then you find the hot hand. You find the crowd just getting into it here. It's good to hear them pick this thing up. I'm going to say, the fan bases really have a lot of control over the game, especially when it's not going your way.
Offensive foul, Corey Sanders. This is 8 in a row now for Aubrey Dawkins' shot.
Aubrey Dawkins has gotten himself into position to make the shots, but he also came in the game knocking them down. It's amazing what happens. When guys struggle, you bring in someone off the bench who becomes instant offense. It completely changes the complexion of your offense.
Back in the game for your Wolverines, number 20.
And Dawkins moved into the starting role last year because all the injuries they had. And they averaged 7 per game, averaging a little bit better than that this year.
Well, John Beeline was saying before the game, really, it's with Karis LeVert, they have the lineup that they want, but without Karis LeVert, who is the 7th guy? They're really missing that 7th guy.
Now it's Dawkins making a play happen for his teammate, dumping it off to Donnell, who's fouled by Greer. Both Greer and Sanders with 2 fouls for Rutgers now.
And that was the type of man and ball movement that we've been used to seeing from this Michigan team without Karis LeVert. I think the ball has moved very well. The bodies have moved very well. They make cuts with a purpose. And they get themselves open looks.
First lead of the game for Michigan. And one more coming for Donnell. He's playing with a lot of confidence right now.
And this Michigan team, they assist on the majority of their made field goals, and that to me is a recipe for success. And something you see Michigan State, one of the best in the country at that, in terms of sharing the basketball, assisting on made field goals. The teams that struggle are the teams that rely on just making plays for yourself night in, night out.
Like Williams. Headed the other way. They got Williams for a foul. And that is number 7 on Rutgers. So Michigan into the bonus at the 4:26 mark.
And some of these are youthful plays, but what you want to see from this young bunch is body language. You don't want to see the body language get down. You don't want to see them start to get frustrated. You have to understand, you're in this basketball game. Continue to compete. Give yourselves a chance.
Beg your pardon, that's the 7th turnover, not the 7th foul. There's Irvin with his first points of the game.
Irvin has really struggled shooting the basketball to start this game, but he certainly has it going now. When you feel the crowd, the energy, everything is certainly picked up.
And Eddie Jordan takes a timeout. It's an 8-0 Michigan run. Wolverines waking up late in the first half. With with an 8-0 run to take its first lead of the game. Time now for our Motorist Insurance Group drive to the hoop, part of Dawkins' run of 8 consecutive points.
Aubrey Dawkins has had a great start to this game. He was instant offense coming off the bench, and he was exactly what they needed as they were struggling to score, struggling to find rhythm and momentum within the offense, even just energy here in the building. He brought it.
Yeah, and since his first bucket, a 13-4 Michigan run. And how does Rutgers respond to its first hole of the night?
And I like to change up in defense here, going to a trapping zone out of the timeout.
Bishop Daniels rattles one out. Rebound Donnell. Wolverines have scored the last 8 to take this 5-point advantage inside of 4 minutes. They never lost to Rutgers. The 8th all-time meeting. Michigan has won all 7. Inside a 10 to shoot. Abdur Rahman switched hands and got fouled.
The key will be for Rutgers to string together consistent possessions. I mean, you talk about consistency. That's what's made Iowa so good. They're consistent night in, night out. For Rutgers, a young team, you want to bring consistent effort from not only game to game, but from possession to possession.
Make sure you stay tuned for the State Farm halftime report. Dave Revson, Sean Morris, along from our Chicago studio for the State Farm halftime report. Get you caught up on everything around the conference. Big time game coming up tomorrow night for those Iowa Hawkeyes going to Maryland.
I think that game could answer a lot of questions on the national stage. I think there's a lot of people, and I was one of them, that really questioned how good Iowa could really be, and then questioned how good they really were. Well, after seeing them 2 weeks in a row, the past 2 Sundays, I can tell you what, they are a very, very good basketball team. Probably the most versatile and the most consistent team in the league.
You had them up close Sunday against Purdue.
Impressive, absolutely impressive how they were able to control the game, and just so impressive with their effort and energy, how the guys coming off the bench pick up right where the seniors and juniors left off. It's amazing. A lot deeper than I thought they were, too. I thought depth was going to be the issue. Clearly not.
3 Rutgers turnovers in their last 4 possessions. This helped Michigan go on this 10-0 run. That's a Rutgers foul.
And this is where you're going to see difficulties for Rutgers. Ball screen situation. That was a screen, re-screen, then ball screen. Tough action for young kids to cover, especially a big who has to come out, not used to stepping out too far. Trying to provide help backside, then it's much more difficult than I think anyone understands.
But it's a bunch of guys playing out of position because of the injuries they've had at the 5.
You can say, yeah, just play principle-based defense. Well, yeah, easier said than done. There are intricacies to the offense that you're playing against that you need to be able to take away.
Abdur Rahman 3. Rebound from Laurent. Rutgers trying to find itself offensively down the stretch here in the first half. Michigan has taken control after Rutgers led for almost the entire first 15 minutes of the game.
This is where I say for Rutgers, make the easy pass. Let's just have some good possessions. Even if it doesn't lead to a made basket, let's string together good offensive possessions as you see them now against the zone.
Here in 4 minutes without a bucket. Into a tight window for Foreman, who couldn't hang on to it.
It's the right pass, good pass, just a tough one to catch. Foreman just couldn't hold on to it.
Irvin goes baseline and draws the foul on Mike Williams.
Great spacing on that play. The spacing was so good that there was no backside help, which left Irvin wide open to here attack the glass. You're going to notice no one backside in the play to take that thing away because you have 2 players out around the perimeter.
When Zach Irvin really started to come on down the stretch last year, those final 7 games, with all the injuries Michigan had, Averaged more than 17 per game down the stretch. This is what he was doing.
Yeah, you look at the spacing here. I mean, you have guys around the perimeter, and as you roll it, look, there's a reason why there's no one inside the paint. Great job spacing out to the three-point line, and those are guys that can make three-point shots. That's what makes this Michigan team good. It's also what leads to their balance. Good spacing.
Half of their points have come off of Rutgers turnovers. 4.5 minutes without a point for the Scarlet Knights now. Corey Sanders. Somehow, Foreman got it. Shot clock down to 5. Sanders for Williams is fouled by Donnell.
It's going to be hard for Corey Sanders to work against this zone. There's not a lot of space for him to work, and I think zones are challenging to begin with, but when you put it up against young freshmen who really like to have space, I want to work off a ball screen. I want to create some space for myself. You saw what he's able to do in transition. The zone's going to be tough for him.
Mike Williams, sophomore from Brooklyn. At a team-high 17 on Thursday against Iowa. And has 4 in this one. His free throw snap and drought of more than 4 minutes for Rutgers as Greer comes back in, replacing Williams. I mean, he kind of had the idea that Michigan was going to start to figure it out. It's one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country.
I mean, you look at the Big Ten teams in that top 5. Yeah, Oklahoma and Auburn, we know, but Iowa, Indiana, and Michigan, all elite-level shooters.
Tonight, the number's not pretty, but they started 1 of 10 from 3. They've gotten hot as the half is wound down, but they were getting clean looks.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, look, that's kind of fool's gold, too. I think they've gotten good looks as you see another good shot that happens to go in. And clearly, they heard what we were talking about.
Yeah. They're all about good TV.
But if you look at the teams, Iowa, Indiana, Michigan, they get shots where you're able to step into the shot.
Sanders steps into one and buries it.
But you see what Sanders did. He's able to step into that shot. It immediately becomes a higher percentage shot. Even though it's a 3, it's a higher percentage 3 because he's able to get his feet set and step into the shot. Indiana does a great job at that. Iowa does a great job at that. And certainly Michigan does as well.
Sanders was 7 to lead Rutgers, and 1-1 coming off of this foul on Corey Sanders, which is his 3rd.
You look at a guy who's able to get set, step into it, line the feet up, square the shoulders, release, splash. Look, these guys shoot hundreds and hundreds of shots a day. I mean, Duncan Robinson came out and said, I like to make 200 shots a day. And I'm with him on that. It's repetition, 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 especially when you do it right. Tell you, kids out there, look, I know it might be great to dunk when you're in 8th grade, but if you can make shots at a high percentage, there's a place for you on the court.
Wow, how about that shot?
I wouldn't say that's a high percentage shot, but I'll take it. Anything that keeps them feeling like they can stay in this game, gives them that swagger, gives them that confidence.
Bishop Daniels that time, the senior. Final possession of this half. By the way, the foul on Sanders was number 2, not 3. Big difference. Here's Walton. Lost the handle. Turnaround fadeaway is short. And Rutgers has to feel pretty good about where it sits despite this poor stretch to finish the half. They led for the first 15 minutes. They trail by 7 as we go to the break. Stay tuned. Dave and Sean will be along from Chicago with a State Farm halftime report right after this break. Super Wednesday basketball on BTN is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Brought to you in part by Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Find your agent, AutoOwners.com. And by Rocket Mortgage, the fast, powerful, completely online way to get a mortgage by Quicken Loans. And just a little distracted by these dogs. It was pretty fun, though, huh?
That and Dizzy Bat. They did Dizzy Bat too.
That was
I
sweet.
love Dizzy Bat.
We had heats on that on those dog races, a few different heats, and I think you picked the winner.
Yeah, I picked the craziest dog. He was barking the whole time.
Yeah, I think
he had to win.
Yeah, I think there's something going on there, though. He looked a little jacked up. First half, so Rutgers is in this game looking for their first win in Big Ten play this season. And once again, it's their freshman, Corey Sanders, leading the way.
Corey Sanders is terrific. And I think Michigan learned what happens if you come out flat against a young Rutgers team. They can get confident. And that's the thing. You have guys that can make plays, and that's a confident jumper right there, going to the right, step back. But it took Aubrey Dawkins coming into the game, kind of instant offense off the bench, comes in, hits a three, then a backdoor dunk, then gets back and hits another three. They share the basketball very well. They space you out very well. They have multiple guys around the three-point line that can knock down shots. I expect Michigan to come out with a little more energy than they started the game with.
Your Auto Owners game leaders are Sanders with his 7, leading the way for Rutgers. Duncan Robinson, Michigan's leading scorer tonight, has been the leading scorer since Karis LeVert has gone out of the lineup as well. Yeah, Michigan was flat. The building was flat. It's kind of what came first, chicken or the egg. But bottom line, it took 15 minutes for the Wolverines to get going in the first half.
Well, and that's part of the problem. I mean, you hope that the crowd can pick things up for a team who's struggling to shoot. I also hope a crowd like this has to understand they're getting good looks. You just got to hang in there with it. Don't get frustrated, because you want the players to feel that same way.
You know, on this end of the floor for Rutgers, they shot 50% during the first half, but they turned it over 9 times. Well, they begin this half with an offensive foul.
And I think that happens a lot when you have guys that try to make plays for themselves, and ultimately passing is the second or last option. You pass out of necessity more so out of opportunity.
Foul is on Greg Lewis, number 2 on him.
That may have made sense to 50% of the audience.
But other 50 weren't paying close enough attention. Right? Irvin did a lot of things in that first half. 5 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. Shot clock winding down. Here's Robinson trying to get room. Turns it over. Mike Williams with a steal.
It's a good job by Rutgers switching in the late shot clock situation, but also as a guard, if you're switching on a big, do not let him pin you down. Williams fought over the top to get that steal.
A lot of these Rutgers players having a battle out of position, play much bigger players. Daniels had it rounded out on him. A rebound for Michigan. Robinson launches and hits.
There are some difficult threes that certain good shooters are going to make. That's one of them. I mean, that's in transition, hand in your face. It takes a lot of confidence to shoot that shot.
Game high 13 for him.
And we talk about the shots that they get that lead them to be high percentage shots. Stepping into it, you know, drive and kick out. This is a little different. This isn't really stepping into the shot. Yes, he gets his feet set. There's a guy right in his face, and he's 25 feet out.
But his numbers against Nebraska on Saturday, played all but 1 minute. Those 21 points, his best total since putting on a Michigan uniform.
He's been tremendous. He really has been, especially with Karis LeVert out. He's a floor spacer. Yes, most of his shots are going to be threes. But as he continues to develop, get stronger, understands how to use his strength, I think you're going to see more and more going to the basket, and even some pull-up 15-foot jumpers.
Quick and Long's amazing performance came from him Saturday in Lincoln. He scored the last 8 for Michigan in this one, as Lewis makes 1 of 2.
I think the three-point shot is also a part of who he is on this team. He's a floor spacer. And guys like Darren Walton, they're playmakers.
Abdur-Rahman drives by Daniels and got fouled before Lewis pinned it against the backboard. 2 shots coming for the sophomore.
Abdur-Rahman coming right into the house here. He's another guy who can space you out, but yes, he's going to put it on the deck and attack the glass hard. Where again, it's good to have a guy like Duncan Robinson who's just going to float around the three-point line, understands his spots, understands where to go to receive a pass, and can knock down the shot.
You know, when Karis LeVert is ready to come back, and it sounds like that will be before too long. John Beilein saying this week that they have decided on when he's going to come back, and we'll all find that out when we see him come back. But there's going to be an adjustment period. Is one of those adjustments, though, Duncan Robinson be able to focus more on what he does best?
I think the biggest adjustment is going to be Karis LeVert adjusting to how this team is playing now, because they're playing their best basketball as of late. They're spacing the floor well. They're executing well. They seem to be playing together, sharing the basketball well. We saw the first half. I mean, 8 assists and 10 made field goals. They're really doing a good job playing within the system and sharing the basketball. Karis LeVert has to be able to come back and share it as well. I mean, you look at what they've done without him.
This is Zach Irvin's numbers without him. Averaging close to 14 per game in those 6 games that LeVert has missed with the lower left leg injury. Here's Lewis plus the foul on Donnell. Lower left leg injury sounds like a hockey injury. Right? Lower body, upper body.
And you like this. This is drawing defense. And if you don't have backside help to take that pass away, it's going to be layup city.
Senior from Baltimore. He's dealt with injuries throughout his entire career. Dealing with some injuries again this year, battling through it. As Rutgers back to within single digits. Irvin, tough catch. Tough cover for Foreman. Williams up high to get it. Williams for 3. Irvin nifty behind the back on the push. Passes up the 3 for the drive and lost it out of bounds. That was last touched by Rutgers, and we'll stay here.
Michigan does a good job of spacing you out and getting to the basket. And I don't know, I think he just lost it out of that.
I agree. I'm surprised there's no argument. Blown coverage on the inbound. Donnell.
Teams practice out of bounds underneath for the sole purpose of not giving up an easy basket. You don't really practice an out of bounds underneath to try to get a 5-second count. No, you do it just for the sole purpose of not giving up a layup. And that just happened.
Sanders contested 3 off the front of the rim. Walton looks to push. In the corner, Robinson. Sanders. Irvin left alone. Got out against Lewis. He walked. Inside of 16 minutes. Left to play in this one. John Beilein's team by 10. Going through footwork with his big man.
One situations, and Nigel Hayes in a one-on-one situation is going to get to the foul line.
Snapped that 12-game run for Indiana, handed them their first conference loss of the season.
It's also a tough matchup for Indiana. Wisconsin really takes the air out of the ball, limits possessions, and Indiana was just never able to find rhythm.
Here's Williams. Scramble for the loose ball. Last touched by Michigan.
There's a certain crispness that's not really in this game right now, and I think if one team or the other really cleans it up and plays with the energy and effort that they need to play with, I think they could pull away with this win. Even though it's a 10-point game, Rutgers is still in this.
1 for 6 from the field this half. Sanders trying to make something happen. Cross court for Daniels, 18-footer. Walton had a lane to take it down, passed it up, so Irvin went inside, left it short.
Just like a second guessing going on here, almost like an insecurity. Let's go play confident basketball. Look, you have a lane, take it. You have a shot, take it.
Sanders teardrop.
And he's good. He really is good. I know this team has struggled. I know he has had his ups and downs this season. Started the Big Ten season off a little tougher but he has been terrific as of late. Key will be to just stay dialed in, stay the course, improve every day, win or lose.
Irvin, Robinson, Walton, got it.
The ball finally got inside. Ball got to the block area. Irvin pulls it out a little bit, swings it out, one extra pass, and Derek Walton gets a good look.
The Rutgers last year had a 1-2 punch of Kadeem Jack, Miles Mack. Both gone now. Sanders kind of stepping into that role potentially that Mack was in, and that is a 4-year contributor, one of the guard spots. Really nice future for him. Really nice ball movement here.
I think 1-2 punch is great, but balance is even better. And you see good balance from Michigan because they move the ball so well. And that's something clearly you have to credit John Beilein for. It's his system. It's what he's had success with at every single level he's coached, which is every single level.
Yeah. More than 700 wins in his 38 years as a coach, from JUCO to D2, to West Virginia. Now, his 9th season in Michigan. Hard to believe it's been almost a decade, huh?
Seriously, that's true. Hard to believe I've been out of college.
You're getting up there. To foul away from the ball, they get Mike Williams.
That's his third, team third.
Number 3 on Williams.
I would tell young kids, if I'm a coach at any level, body language is so important. You can see when they pick up a foul, kind of the shoulders drop. You've got to keep the body language positive because your team picks up on it. The opponents pick up on it. It's like blood in the water.
So tough, though. I mean, so tough to have good body language. You haven't tasted.
Oh, and I'm not saying I was good in college. I was terrible. I was a sloucher every time you took me out of the game. But you start to see that as you grow up. You start to see how important that is. You see Walton knock down another 3.
His second in a row. He's got 9. The lead is 12 for Michigan.
And you see it on the bench, too. That entire Michigan bench jumps up. Spike Auburn, too. Jumps up off the bench. Excited to see him knock down another 3.
Oh, deep check from Greer. Maybe it was just a nice pass for Williams. He got the offensive rebound. Re-tees Greer. This time he's got it.
I love that. I tell you what, the first one looked so bad, but he had the confidence and the swagger to get it back and put it up again. Shaking his head a little bit like, I got this. I love that shot.
Really short memory. Seconds. Donnell off of the pick and roll game. Hangs on to it. Robinson on the drive. First way up, no. Here's Daniels. Into contact, no call. And Donnell touched it while he was on the baseline.
At times when I want to remind Duncan Robinson, hey, you're a little taller than you realize. You can come to a jump stop. Just let everything happen. Take your time. Be patient. No need to try to fly through the air, dipsy-do, and flip something up.
6'8". Really good size.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. You just come to a job. It looks really good up until that point. Everything looks so pretty. If we just took a picture of that, screenshot, screen grab, I think that's what they call it these days. Take a screen grab midair, it would have been awesome. I mean, that could be his next Instagram post right there, just regardless of what happened at the end of it.
A pass into traffic, ill-advised. Walton dribbles it off his foot. 10 Rutgers turnovers in this game. Almost half of Michigan's first half points came off of those turnovers.
We'll see how long it takes Aubrey Dawkins to get going. I mean, he was really the catalyst in the first half.
Walton nearly got it to fall. Wouldn't have mattered. It's a travel. Officials do a nice job of working together to make that call. Rutgers continuing to hang around. Michigan by 9, inside at 12. Sunday, the 100th episode of The Journey. Big Ten Basketball 2016. We take a closer look at the Premier Basketball Conference and the people who live it. 9:30 Eastern on BTN. Great look at Peter Jock His journey from Sudan to Des Moines, having a great season for the Hawkeyes. Time for the Reese's Perfect combination now. Corey Sanders, 9 points and 5 boards. Bishop Daniels has gone for 6 and 4. While it's not been pretty, John, Rutgers still within striking distance.
They're within striking distance, and they just have to maintain confidence and play with a sense of urgency. Give themselves a chance to be in this game late, make a few plays, and pick up a win.
Williams, nice move. And 2 shots coming.
Look, and it's not that Michigan's played poorly. That's the thing. I think Rutgers has just played well. That's a good attack. That's good offense, a good read. And those are the type of reads you struggle with earlier in the season. You really struggle to make the right read. You try so hard to make the right read that you can't.
Paralysis by analysis.
Yes, try less, right?
It's like golfing for me. Karis LeVert watches. Williams shoots one more.
Karis LeVert is a guy they do need back. I mean, this is an NCAA tournament team, in my opinion, no doubt. And with him, they're a very dangerous NCAA tournament team. He's one of the best players in the country.
When he comes back and they are full strength, what is it that they're missing? What needs to be fixed between now?
Toughness. It is just toughness. That's what they're missing the most. They're missing a guy who can just go out and get you one. Someone who will just set a hard screen, be that physical enforcer down low. And I'm not talking to enforcer like the bad boys, you know, in Detroit back in the day. You know, just someone who's physically tough. I mean, you look at the game against Xavier and Jalen Reynolds really physically dominated the game. And I think that's the one thing that would make this Michigan team elite.
Jalen Reynolds had a good night last night, too. Xavier got a top 10 road win against Providence.
That's a good team. Very good team.
Sanders anticipates the pass, and Corey Sanders slams it down to bring Rutgers within 5.
Wow. He got up. Good to see the Rutgers bench stand up a little bit, too. Get into it. Pick your guys up. That's a body language I'm talking about.
Nearly another steal.
It's amazing what one steal and a dunk does in terms of picking up the energy, not only the guys on the court, but guys on the bench as well.
Irvin attacks the rim and responds for Michigan. Greer for 3. Airballs it, but Michigan touched it last, and so it will stay here. The shot clock still at 11.
Talk about a little guy getting up. I mean, I say little, he's my size, but gets the steal in transition, and he flies.
Man.
That was a good hang, too. That was a good hang on the rim. You know, it was a good just kind of what your body, your momentum carries you. It looks really cool.
Williams knocks down along 2. Yeah, it was the sweet spot of timing and hanging on the rim. Yeah, enough to make a statement, not enough to draw a call.
Right now, this Rutgers team is right back in this game. 5-point basketball game, and Michigan hasn't really gotten it going offensively.
Irvin has been that man for them over the last few weeks when they've needed a bucket. Finds Doyle.
That's great interior passing. A good job by Doyle keeping that thing high. He brings that down. I'm willing to bet that's a steal. He kept it high and finished it.
He's matched his point total from a win against Nebraska on Saturday. That 3 is offline.
Now, this is where it's important for both teams to be able to string together a few good possessions. And right now, it seems like it's Michigan that's doing it. Great high-low there off the ball screen.
Ricky Doyle with back-to-back buckets. Here's Greer stepping back. That's a long 2. And a rebound for Irvin. What a complete performance it's been for Zach Irvin. 7 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, and still 9 to play. Walton, look at the step back, short, right into his lap. Here's a cutting Dawkins, who dumped it off the heel. Oh my goodness.
I've seen in a long time. And by nasty, I mean, it was actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
I mean, he brought that thing down. Wow. You know, see, I mean, he took off like Blake Griffin style. He was way out there. I'm not sure if he realized how far out he was.
Williams given a little bit of room to bury the jumper.
That's a good job by Rutgers. I mean, yes, that's an individual move. Little step-back jumper by Williams, but it's a good job by taking an opportunity for Michigan away. Missed dunk and turn it into points.
Dawkins trying to make up for it. I'll take 3 over 2 any day.
Oh, man, I'll tell you, he plays with a lot of confidence. Instant offense off the bench. As you said, played a lot last year, and I think that's the thing. He gained great experience last year. Understands his role on this team.
Michigan can match its win total from last year with a victory tonight as Bishop Daniels collects 2 more. Those injuries and the early departures before the year led to some of the guys like Dawkins getting more minutes than they would have had those things not happen. And a year later, seeing the benefits of it.
Well, I think you're going to see the benefits even more when you get Karis LeVert back and you have a full squad.
Irvin hopping to the block and getting fouled. Only the 5th on Rutgers. Now Dawkins knocked down this corner 3. He was making up for what would have been a really nice dunk.
That would have been a very nice dunk. You can take a look at it. Oh, he gets so up there, he just can't get it to go.
Right now the gap is 8, which is well below their average scoring margin here at the Chrysler Center. 22-point average margin.
Yeah, you have to give credit for Rutgers staying in this game, and they really came out through the first punch, and I think that's what's most important with a young team, and that was the one thing that really John Beilein was concerned about too.
It's the 2nd best home scoring margin in the Big Ten, trailing just Indiana. Michigan is 10-1 in this building this year. They've never lost to Rutgers in 7 previous meetings. Duncan Robinson with a team-high 16.
It's amazing what length can do if you're a premier, elite, great shooter. You can shoot right over the top. You don't have to worry about getting blocked. You shoot with confidence, knowing that if you can get the shot off and you can line your steps up, get your shoulders square, it's going to be a good look.
I was going to say you speak from experience on that, but the whole length thing, you would have liked a little more of that to go along with this.
Probably would have gotten 2 more shots.
Yeah.
Can't have it all. No. That's why I'm talking for a little.
Walton got fouled shooting the 3.
This is not an easy shot, but if you are a really good shooter, you have confidence that if you can get your shoulders squared, you can get your feet squared stepping into it, it's going to be a good look. Again, it's the repetition, the constant repetition where you feel like it doesn't matter whether there's a hand in my face or if there's no one in my face, I'm still doing the same thing.
Foul is on Sanders, his 3rd. And it puts a good foul shooter at the line in Walton, close to 80% on the season.
I always wonder how tough it's going to be. Just looked at Karis LeVert there on the bench. I look over and you see him. Yes, he's itching to get back, but you wonder what kind of pressure he feels. You know, he's still a kid. There's the pressure of the next level, but what does he feel in terms of when he comes back? There's certainly going to be a lot of pressure on him.
Largest lead of the game for Michigan. Surviving another right now without LeVert.
Duncan Robinson may look like McLemore, but he shoots it like Larry Bird. He has been tremendous. A Division III transfer that has come in with a lot of confidence, a lot of swagger. He's a key addition to this team, and I think he's one of those guys that will make this team elite once they get their star in Karis LeVert back.
He was a National Freshman of the Year at the Division III level at Williams College 2 years ago. Helped them to the national championship game. And in His first season of action here at Michigan. #1 3-point shooter in the Big Ten, and he's on pace to set a school record for makes in a season. Sanders got fouled by him.
There's a lot of high school coaches out there who are sitting down with their son, or even maybe some players that they coach, saying, what do we say? Never foul a jump shooter. That wasn't a hard foul, but
no.
He high-fived him a little bit.
3 shots here for Sanders, who misses the first. 74% on the year.
I think Sanders is going to be dangerous in this league. Years to come. I'll tell you what. He's strong for a freshman. He's not afraid of anything. Has a ton of confidence. And I think he's going to have a green light throughout his entire career.
Yeah.
Those guys scare me.
We talked about it a little bit early on, but Miles Mack had a 4-year run where he was the guy. He's gone, and Sanders steps in.
No offense to Miles Mack. I just see a lot of potential.
Right.
Different. I think a whole nother level of potential, and I think he's a point guard that will get better, much like a Yogi Ferrell, and will make his teammates better.
Robinson short, tipped out, and able to maintain possession.
That's something Yogi Ferrell has gotten so good at in terms of making his teammates better. And yes, he's got to score, and he does it. He has that potential, but ultimately he's had the opportunity to slow the game down, get others involved. That's something Corey Sanders can do.
Foreman went for the steal. Sanders got the steal. And quickly back the other way, lays it off for Williams, who finishes with the left hand. Rutgers back to within 10.
It's good run out, good pro. Made the simple pass. It's a good 3-on-2 break where you attack from the top.
Sanders and Williams both with 13 to lead Rutgers. Urban given some room. Here's Walton, catch and shoot. Sanders against Dawkins, explodes by him and gets fouled. That is foul number 7, so 1-1 for Corey Sanders.
This is what I'm talking about. This is a good attack from the top. It's a simple pass. Right into the gut, gives them an opportunity to go up and finish the layup. Nothing flashy, nothing crazy. Just the right play.
Again, the continuation foul here, so 2 shots for Sanders. Rutgers just will not go away.
You can't call it a continuation in college basketball. It's technically not a continuation. We refer it was in the act of shooting, as I make quotes with my fingers.
Yeah. Makes both. 6-0 Rutgers run. And an 8-point game inside of 5 minutes. Robinson gets fouled. Number 7 on Rutgers. So 1-1 for Duncan Robinson. Purdue and Minnesota follows us. 21st ranked Boilermakers, Minneapolis.
You look on the floor right now for Rutgers, and I'll tell you, there are 2 guys that don't get enough credit for how hard they have to work, and one of them is DJ Foreman. I mean, it's impressive how hard they have to work when you're undersized and outmanned, in the sense that there are no bigs coming off the bench. DJ Foreman is a guy, he's working his butt off and not going to see the ball a lot. And then Greg Lewis, a guy who you have said has played with injuries, have dealt with injuries, have overcome injuries, has to play a lot bigger than he really is. These guys have their hands full.
Yeah. Williams drawing the foul and finishing against Abdur Rahman. And it hurt his hand or wrist, forearm. We'll have a chance at 3.
As I'm saying that, it's the 2 bigs who really are the setup men in this offense, where they're setting screens, they're trying to get guards open room to work. sure what happened here. Yeah, you don't see him land.
Already has that thumb taped up on his right hand. That's the side that he clutched. Free throw from Williams, no good. Rutgers 10 for 14 from the stripe tonight. Down 8, 4.5 left. Robinson with 5 to shoot. From the elbow, contested shot into the hands of Sanders. Sanders lost it out of the baseline.
That's one of those plays where Coach Eddie Jordan's going to say, hey, Corey, it's okay to pull it back out. It's all right to just step back and make the simple play.
It's crunch time. Coach Jordan ditched the coat. Sanders got his hand on it. Recovered. Donnell rolling to the bucket, off of the feed. Lays it in. Williams. Lewis can't follow it. There's Foreman battling inside. Abdul Rahman rips it out of the crowd. Walton tried to lay it off for Donnell. Got knocked out of bounds with 6 seconds left on the shot clock.
They like that last possession where they're really using the ball screen, the two-main game very well. They've had success. Walton has been great at sharing the rock, especially when you got bigs that can finish.
Knocked down 11 threes, which matches their season average, best in the Big Ten. They've got 3 of the top 10 three-point shooters by percentage in the conference. I know you say you don't like to look at percentage to judge how good of a shooter a guy is, but do these guys pass the eye test for you too?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's also because they get good looks. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, yes, there are some great shooters out there that will shoot 38, 39%. Well, they don't get easy looks. And I think when you have multiple good shooters on the team and on the floor at the same time, your shooting percentages are going to go up.
Inbound is 6 to shoot. Donnell in the corner. He'll fire away with a long 2, and Sanders clears it.
Your floor spacing's better, which means you can get inside the paint and drive and kick and play drive-kick basketball. So you're going to get better looks.
Sanders leaves the 3 short. Irvin nearing a triple-double.
Man, he's not had the best offensive night. He struggled in the first half, hit a couple threes. He's made plays, and he's very active on the glass.
He's got 7 points, 11 boards, 8 assists. Top step into the lane, shot clock winding down out to Walton with 5 to shoot. Walton in the corner finds Dawkins, who got it off. And an air ball, shot clock violation.
That's where you want to have someone on the floor that recognizes the shot clock sooner. But you can get a play going to the basket, not get trapped on one side of the floor.
See if Rutgers has one last-ditch effort in them, down 10, inside of 2 minutes. Daniels had it knocked away. Lewis has it. Sanders way out front. Knocked away by Walton. Will inbound with 7.
You see some of the deflections and then that pass right there from Sanders. Those are freshman plays right there. Those are freshman plays where you just don't understand, where you have to be diligent. You have to make strong, crisp passes. If Rutgers can do that, they're going to be able to compete in this conference. There's 2 guys that have really competed this entire game, and Corey Sanders is a guy who doesn't come off the floor.
Yeah,
He's going to learn one way or another how to play this game in this conference because he's going to play a ton of minutes every night out.
Duncan Robinson leading the way for Michigan with 18. I asked you before the game, how do you snap this skid if you're Rutgers? You think it's going to have to be these guards going off. They've gotten 2 of the 3, having pretty darn good nights.
I think it's got to be 3 guys. I mean, 3 guys really getting theirs and then playing with a lot of confidence. You see that possession, tough one for a coach out of the timeout. You just want to see him execute. And that's exactly what Eddie Jordan's saying right now. Guys, we just talked about it. I know it was a quick timeout, but come on, man. Got to credit his patience, too. You understand the process. We talked to him before the game about the stepping down from the NBA level to the collegiate level where you're teaching things that are really foundational. So you're not just teaching the intricacies of your offense or the ideas you have or the specific things you want to be able to cover. It's really building the foundation. That's a challenge.
How about his analogy that he gave us before the game as Irvin misfires from 3? He said it's like trying to hammer together a couple of 2x4s. You got a 4-inch nail, but instead of having a hammer to do it, you've got a spoon. He said, I love my spoon. I love these guys. But right now, that's the process, what it feels like. Really slow, trying to get it turned around.
And that's the thing we said. It's almost as if there are times where you feel like you're not even making any progress, but you have to trust that you are. And as I said before the game, elite teams are very good teams, and I think Purdue is one of them. You look at what you do, and you say, all right, I want to watch tape. I want to find out what our vulnerabilities are. And then if you're a team like Rutgers, you go, instead of focusing on our vulnerabilities, I want to understand what we do well and build from there.
And that was a 1-and-1. So that was a live ball that went out of bounds off Rutgers, and Michigan will have possession.
Let me get back to that point, though. I really do believe this. I think that very good teams focus on what makes them vulnerable. Teams that are young have to focus on what makes them good and what they can build upon. And I think that's something Rutgers can do, but it will take time.
What Eddie Jordan's team has coming up.
Doesn't get any easier.
Nope. At Michigan State on Sunday. Nebraska's been playing really well. To go to Lincoln early February.
I think all of those, even Illinois is a tough matchup. Illinois has some experienced guards. Those guys can score. I did the Illinois-Purdue game when Illinois beat Purdue. Kendrick Nunn, Malcolm Hill had 52 combined. Just a lot of good teams and a number of good players in this conference. There's no easy night, and that's something John Beeline said before the game.
Mike Williams just fouled out of the game, 1-and-1 here for Derek Walton, and you better figure Rutgers will know it this time. For Walton, 11 of those 14 coming this half. Doyle comes in, replacing Donnell with 41 ticks. So we touched on it a little bit, but for Rutgers to break through and get that first win in more than a year, what's the equation?
I think it's multiple guards having a great night. And I think once they get a win or even 2, I think that's going to pick things up. And I know the crowd right now with 28.8 is not happy that Rutgers is fouling, but I like it. These kids are not going to go out without a fight. And I think that's a lesson that should be taught. And I think it's something Eddie Jordan understands what he's doing. Guys, we're not going to go in and just roll over and die. No, we're going to fight. We're going to fight to the very end. I think that's a good lesson to teach these kids.
Jack Irvin just matched John career high with those 12 rebounds. Go ahead.
I don't know. I think it's a tough situation. It's a process. The process takes time. But you're seeing signs of improvement that you can feel good about. You just have to hope that you can keep the team engaged, keep the players, upbeat, try to keep the body language as positive as possible. But certainly it's a challenge.
So tough. So tough. It's been so long since they've tasted any kind of success in Big Ten play. A lot of young kids in this group battling through injuries. Just hoping something can break their way, something to feel good about, because at this point, you know they're sick of coming close and being commended for being competitive.
Well, the other thing is you got to remember these are all stars at the level they played before this. So they're not used to losing like this, and the hope is that they never get used to losing like this. The expectations have to be high for them to find success.
For Michigan, meanwhile, it takes them just 21 games to match last year's win total. 16-5 now and 6-2 in the Big Ten as the Wolverines put 4 into double figures and are led by Duncan Robinson's 8 team, which included 4 more threes for the top three-point shooter in the conference. 68-57, the final score from Michigan. For John Crispin and the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from Ann Arbor. We send it to Dave and Sean in Chicago on the other side of this break with the Big Ten game break.